and welcome to All There Is. I'm your host, Kelly Bargabas. It has been a few months since I shared a new episode with you, and I have to tell you, I've missed it. And you. I ended season 2 a few months ago, and I intentionally took some time to finish the first draft of a novel I've had in the works for years. I have my 2 nonfiction books, which you know about, Chasing the Merry-Go-Round and Here to Lead, but this is my first full-length novel. It's called Loving Lavender Finch, and it's a coming-of-age young adult novel. And like I said, it's been in me for about 10 years. And I had to get my other 2 books out first, and now it was just time for me to get this done. So I'm happy to report that I did finish my draft, and I did that by creating a morning routine. You know, what those annoying pieces of advice that everybody tells you, carve out some time every morning and just systematically get your butt in the chair and work your way through it. And I actually did it and was able to complete it. So stay tuned for more about that. But for this podcast, All There Is, which I started on November 15th, 2020. So it's been 3.5 years since my first episode. My goal was always to connect with you, to share some of the things I'd written and perhaps what others had written, to inspire you, to shift paradigms, to expand our universe through words. I'm one of those people who works through all the stuff in my life through writing about it, whether it's pain, heartbreak, anxiety, happiness, drama, uncertainty, upcoming presidential election. You know, I find my truth and healing when I spend time figuring out how to express my thoughts and feelings with words. My goal is for my writing to always be authentic, accessible, provocative, timeless. And the thing I love most about writing is when I read something to an audience and they get it. They get me. They find themselves in the emotion or the feeling or the struggle that I tried to convey. And I realized that that's the reason I like podcasting, because it's that connection. It makes me feel less alone. And I hope you and I, can be less alone together. If we can expand our own personal universe and make our own little world bigger, it makes the world at large seem smaller and you and I more connected. And it's allowing me to use my gifts and passions and with a voice hope to change the world in some small way for you and I in this moment of time. I want to share some fun facts about All There Is. The platform that I use for my podcast, Buzzsprout, issues stats every year. So as I opened season 3, I thought we could take a look back at 2023 and season 2. All There Is received 5,980 downloads in total. 5,980 downloads in total. That's amazing. It averages 30 downloads in the first 7 days. Was listened to in 46 countries, although my top cities are San Diego and Syracuse, which makes complete sense because those are the most recent cities I've lived in, and was in the top 50% of all Buzzsprout podcasts. So I was pretty pumped about that. So I'm going to give you just a little highlight reel of the top 5 episodes, which were the most listened to episodes of season 2. And I'm going to share what that episode was and then just give you a little 30-second audio from that episode in case you missed it. Here we go. The number 5 episode for All There Is in season 2 was The Way of Hope with Mark Haywood of Marvelous Ways International. And Marvelous Ways International is an amazing organization that goes where children are in danger around the world and comes up with solutions to change the danger that they're facing. They really are finding ways to incubate and develop hope for these children. So I encourage you to listen to this little blurb out of that episode, but really go find that episode, The Way of Hope with Mark Haywood. This was episode 69.
From the 70s, the U.S. has invested huge dollars in anti-poverty measures around the world. And many, many Western nations have done the same, wealthier, developed nations. And unfortunately, today, the world is not less impoverished. The world is not more peaceful. It is not more stable. It's not safer. Despite our huge efforts of time, of resources, of really big-hearted people, the differences that we'd hope to make we're actually seeing trends to the opposite. And so
why do you think that is?
Well, I think that it's an unbalanced approach. So as you said, most organizations and even, government or para-government organizations like the UN or UNICEF, they really focus on access issues, which you had just listed, access to clean water and medicine and education and all of those things. The challenge is that those are necessary. Let's not sugarcoat that. To a community that doesn't have good wells, they need water, right? Clean. That's a hierarchy of need for a society. It needs to begin there. But if left there, it actually doesn't produce long-term change. Not the way that we would hope or expect. We have lots of evidence of this. Money alone actually doesn't create a thriving society.
The number 4 episode for season 2 was All There Is, Homelessness in America and Scene and Story. And this episode was really special because I did it with my husband, Craig, who's an artist. And he and I have this project that we worked on, and he is a painter. And he painted a series of paintings of the unhoused or the homeless in America. And then I wrote short micro stories that pair with the art. And for this particular episode, we did a video that is available on YouTube. It's available on Craig's website, craigandersonfineart.com. Here's a little snippet from that episode. This was episode 50. And again, it's on YouTube and on Craig's website.
You know, they always say a picture's worth 1,000 words. And, I completely agree being a visual artist. But when the painting is paired with the actual words, it becomes even more impressive, really more important. And I think you'll get that as we go through each painting that's paired with the micro story. It's really powerful, and each one on its own is very powerful, but when they're combined, there's something special happens. So I hope you feel that too, moving forward.
The third most listened to episode of season 2 was If Wishes Were Eagles, which this warms my heart. If Wishes Were Eagles is a children's story that I wrote, and Craig is illustrating. So it's still in the works. The story's done, just waiting for all the illustrations and the paintings to be done. Here's a little blurb from that. Episode 60. I'd watch the sun rise as the new day breaks, bringing hope and possibility, another chance to be brave. If I lived in a world where wishes were eagles and even I could fly, I'd follow the wind and listen to the whispers of the old and the wise. I'd keep my friends close, I'd hang on with all my might, and those who I love, I'd keep all my life. The number 2 episode for All There Is in season 2 was a Keep It Real episode where I interview real people with real lives, with real stories. And this particular episode was called Thriving with Child with Renee Farrell. And Child is children's interstitial lung disease. And it's a pretty powerful episode. Renee has 2 children that are thriving with children's interstitial lung disease. And, the challenges are real, but so are the wins, and they find joy. So here's a little snippet from that, and go check it out. This was episode 58.
And where have you found joy through all of this?
Well, I think I find joy in the little things. I think not that they're trivial things to other parents, but I think that when you have been through so much with your kids and had, all the hospital stays that we've had and the medical interventions that we've had and the therapies, not knowing what things are going to look like, I think that things like tying their shoe, Callan just went to his first school dance. Charlotte's learning how to do horseback riding. Coming home and saying they made a new friend. Those are the things that I find joy in.
And then the number 1 episode for All There Is in season 2 was Homeless in America, Chasing the Merry-Go-Round, which that just warms my heart because that is the episode where I share the prologue from my memoir that I wrote about my brother Bobby. And it's called Chasing the Merry-Go-Round, Holding On to Hope and Home When the World Moves Too Fast. His story is an amazing story. He's an amazing person. You can find a copy of that book on Amazon if you haven't read it yet. But here's a little blurb from that episode, and then I hope you go and listen to the whole thing. This one was episode 47.
Most of the time, Bobby is one who stands on the sidelines and watches the rest of us go round. I tried for many years to help make him fast enough and strong enough to climb onto the merry-go-round. When that didn't work, I tried running for him. I tried carrying him while I ran. I was sure that if I could just get him up on that bench, he would be okay. Instead, he has shown me what it's like to stand on the sidelines. And though I will always try to convince the ones pushing and pulling to slow down every once in a while, Let people like him on or off. Give someone else a turn. When he is on the sidelines, I will stand with him. When he walks to the other side of the playground, I will walk with him.
So thanks for humoring me by listening to my In Case You Missed It highlight reel. Season 3 with all new episodes will be launching shortly, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned to hear more about my novel, Loving Lavender Finch. And let's see if we can get All There Is in the top 10% of podcasts in 2024. So I hope you can help me do that by subscribe to the podcast, share it with your friends, share it with people who might appreciate the content and the subject matter. Just keep tuning in. Before I sign off, I just want to leave you with this thought, which is the foundational belief for me and this show. And that is this. This is what I truly believe. How we care for those who need help has an everlasting impact. I believe that if the basic needs of a person's spirit, soul, and body are met, it allows them the ability to keep their own corner of the world, their home, safe and prosperous for them and their family. This is all there is. Remember that as we head into 2024 and elect a new president. That's all I'll say about that for right now. I'm sure there'll be an upcoming episode. But thanks in all seriousness, thank you so much for listening. You can go to kellybargavas.com to listen to all past episodes and catch up before the new season starts. Until we meet again, take care.